Welcome back to the 101 Sports Webcast. Joining me now is David Flint, our resident NASCAR expert, and you know what that means. We're talking about the Daytona 500. So David, to kick us off, talk about some of the rules that are going to be in place for this year's race.
Well, Cam, this year NASCAR is going to a more low downforce package at all the racetracks. They ran it at Darlington in Kentucky last year, and the drivers seem to really enjoy it. It takes away some of the grip, which means the ability of the drivers to kind of drive it more to their liking and with more leeway is put back into their hands. NASCAR is not quite as strict with rules and what can be in a car, what can be adjusted during the race. There's also a new digital dash they're trying out this year that they've never done before. And there's the charter system they're putting in for the race team. So I think the rules package will be really good and lead to some good racing we haven't seen in a number of years.
So you think the times this year are going to be faster?
Yeah.
With the new rule changes?
The times could be faster, and the amount of side-by-side racing and exciting finishes should increase as well.
And you know the fans are going to love that. So moving on, Tony Stewart's injury, talk about that a little bit, and then talk about the replacement who's coming in for him.
Well, Tony Stewart, he's already announced it's his final season as a Sprint Cup driver. He's not stopping racing entirely, of course, just getting out of the Cup ride, but he did hurt himself in California a few weeks ago and will miss the start of the season. It's reported that he's expecting to be back by about the third weekend of May, which means he'll miss about the first 12 or 13 races or so. He could get a waiver. I mean, Kyle Busch missed about the same amount of time last year, got a waiver from NASCAR, came back and had an awesome run and just blew the title out of the water.
Right.
Unprecedented, you know, before that time. I see no reason that NASCAR wouldn't give Tony Stewart a waiver as well, especially considering the fact that it's his final season. I don't, frankly, see him making the kind of run that Kyle Busch made. Personally, being a Tony Stewart fan since the age of 5, I hope he at least gets a chance to, you know, go out on a high note. No,
you know, after a legendary career like Tony Stewart has, I think they should definitely give him a waiver and let him compete this year. To close this out for this block, Joey Logano, obviously expectations are high. Is he going to meet those expectations this year?
He's going to have a good year. I just don't see him winning the title. I mean, he was clearly the favorite in the midpoint of the chase last year until he, frankly, got dumped by Matt Kenseth in Martinsville. But he was fastest in practice before qualifying for the 500. That was only because he, Brad Keselowski, and Ryan Blaney, who the Wood brothers, Ryan Blaney's team, has an alliance with Team Penske. They were drafting together to ensure that Blaney would get a spot in case qualifying got rained out, which it didn't. But if it had, he didn't have a spot because his team doesn't have a charter, so he had to kind of get some help from his Team Penske close to teammates, quasi-teammates, I guess. He will not win the Daytona 500. I mean, he'll draft well, but really the Daytona 500 is a crapshoot in terms of you got to be in the right lane at the right time so you don't get wrecked. But in terms of the championship, he'll finish probably 3rd or 4th, I think. Kevin Harvick's poised to have another great year. I mean, he had an astounding 20 top 3 finishes last year out of 36 possible races. And the chemistry that Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick have.
Yeah, you know, Joey Logano, after having a year like he had, he's got a huge target on his back. I think other drivers are coming for him. I agree with you. He's going to have a good year, not like the year he had last year. Well, David, thank you very much for joining us. Now we have more information going into race day. That's all we have for this block of the 101 Sports Webcast, but stay tuned and we'll be back with the final block, NCAA basketball.